Welcome to Patty's Aquatics. So today what I have planned for you guys is I want to give you guys an update of my entire dirted filterless fish room. I want to show you some of the things that have changed, some of the things I think are really cool that I'm up to, and a few additions I want to put into it. Now I plan on doing a full-fledged fish room tour this fall where I'll go in depth in every single tank. So today is going to kind of be a brief little run by some of these tanks, but I hope you're ready because I am super excited about what's been transpiring in my fish room over the last few months, and I hope you enjoy it. So to give you guys a brief overview of what I see when I walk into this room, this is what I see. And don't mind the cloudy water, I will go over that in a while. And you may notice a few things on the floor here. I will get into those in a little bit as well. But let's start this over here on my 29-gallon Rainbow Shiner tank. All right, so this tank has been doing fabulous since I did that remake of the tank, which I'll link the video up here. I put the power head in here to create some current. I opened up the front of the tank with the plants, and then I put this rock pile in here. And the fish have become different fish with this in here. It's hard to see somewhat in this video right now with this picture, but they are turning colors now. They are getting that translucent metallic blue color on the heads of some of those. And the activity level in here has just been phenomenal as well. So I'm really hopeful that in the near future here, I might be able to breed these guys. Now, like I said before in that video, I don't know if I'm going to be successful in here with them. I may have to take them out and try to breed them in a separate tank and place them back in here as this being their home tank. But we'll see. But that's that tank. Now to flip over here to this one, this is my 29-gallon with my Hyphen Blue Coral Variaties tank. Now this one, I had to let go for so long. The guppy grass was growing crazy. It was like almost a la mode LRB tank where you just set it and forget it. But it was so thick with guppy grass, I kind of was getting sick of it. So I pulled a lot of it out of there and I trimmed some of the dwarf sages in there. And then this Anubias barteri was coming up out of the water. So I trimmed a piece of that off, and I'll show you where I put that later. But I'm loving the look of the tank now. It's more open, but yet still heavily planted. These guys do not breed very often, which is kind of weird. They have to be breeding because I've been seeing different size fish over the months, but it doesn't seem to be going as fast paced as I had initially planned and thought of them. But I have high hopes, and I really love this tank though, and I love these fish. I love the coloration of them. I do have some of these outside in the summer tub, so I'll be curious to see if they breed out there. But they definitely have a lot of females in here that I can tell are pregnant. So now let's hop down. I guess go to this one. This is my Matanel Ricefish. These are rare fish that I got from LRB Aquatics. Now, they are very skittish. They have been a little better now lately, the past few months, where they'll come out to the front. But usually when they see me and I come close to the tank, they hide into the back there, if you can see them. I haven't been able to see any type of breeding action in here as of yet. I had the top of surface of this water so heavily planted with different floating plants that I just, if they were laying eggs in here, which I'm sure they are, they weren't putting them on these spawning mops, which I did put in this tank, 3 of these homemade spawning mops, just to see if they would put any on there. I haven't noticed any at all, and they've been in there for at least a month now, but there's so much vegetation in this tank. I mean, it's going to be really hard for them just to get on those. So I want to do a little bit of a rearrange in this tank a little bit to maybe see if I can get them to spawn on them, or I'm just going to take them out and just let nature take its course and see if I can get these guys to breed in here naturally. I got these from LRB, from lrbaquatics.com, and I did pose a question to him about any tips with breeding these guys, and he said they're pretty much just like normal rice fish, except they do like to predate on their young. So being heavily planted tanks is going to be a better chance for them to survive. So that's that tank. Now let's move over to this one. This is my White Cloud Minnow tank. Now it's a little cloudy right now because I cut some plants and put them back in the substrate yesterday, so it's a little bit of a mix-up. But now with this tank, I had put 4 or 5 of my breeders outside in one of my tubs, and I can link the video there. And every single one of them jumped out and died. So I was very sad with that. So I wound up getting a few more smaller ones from my local fish store and putting them in here to kind of add to the colony. Now, before I go farther with that breeding part of it, I just want to say this tank, I absolutely love it. This tank initially was with my angelfish pair were in here, and the plants just never would take off. Once I put these guys in here and put a few more stem plants in it, it's just gone gangbusters. Now I also have a lot of these red really shrimp in here, and I don't know if you can tell on this Java moss, they are baby ones everywhere. They have exploded in population, and the plants have just been great as well. So back to the white cloud minnows. What have I been doing? This has been a breed. I can't talk because I'm very excited about it. This has been a breeding project I just started. There will be a video, which you should have seen already, out probably the previous week, of me setting up some tanks to try to breed them in. Well, that's what I want to go to next. So quickly over here, this was that 2.5 gallon tank I put a breeding pair in to see if I could get them to breed. And it's really hard to see, but there is a tiny one swimming. Sorry about the shaky camera. Like over in this area right here. I have found only 2 babies in this tank, but they are moving around and swimming, and I'm feeding them, so we'll see what happens. But I want to skip forward to that other tank since we're talking about white cloud minnows. And we're talking right here. This is that breeding setup tank I put in. Now, this pair has been going at it. Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it because it's so small, but there are babies on the glass. I've seen at least 20 of them today hanging out all around the sides. There's a little tiny one. Where is it? Up there. I'll try to zoom in, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it. You can see it right there. So it's been doing great. So I plan on keep going with this, and we'll see if we can get a whole tank full of these young ones to raise up, because that really is my plan. But back to the next tanks. Now we're going to go right here. Now this one, this has become one of my favorite tanks in the Fishroom again. This is one of my first started, this was my first started tank I ever set up. Now, if you look at past videos, this was heavily planted with Dora Sagittarian. That's all you're really seeing. But what happened was, you can see a lot of dead leaves of it. I didn't trim it, and I had a lot of floating duckweed in there for quite a while, and I think it kind of choked out the light. So what I did is I started trimming it, but then I noticed just how much these crypts have grown and multiplied in this tank. They're everywhere. There's even some in the back where you can't even really see yet. So I thought, you know what? This is the centerpiece of this tank. It should be more open. That way that big cluster of plants and these fish can be the centerpiece of this entire tank. Not just all green Dora Sag, as much as I liked it, but I love this even more. This tank is just, I don't know. I can't say it other than it's freaking awesome. I love it. And those are those Taiwanese orange-green double-sword guppies. Those are phenomenal looking fish to begin with as well. And then I'll show you a little update on this. This is that cheap and easy plant and fish breeding project I had. Nothing really to write home about here. The plants are growing. I had some algae issues, but it's starting to right itself now. There is a little cory in there that I got from my son from those tanks, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And I got some shrimp in there, but that's about it for right now. Just letting some of that Ludwigi and everything grow. So I guess we can talk about these new tanks right now, since I mentioned them with my son. My son gave me these. He was trying to downsize some of his tanks. So I have a 10 gallon, a 20 gallon, then there's this 5 gallon that's got this pre-made like filter area on it. I don't know what I'm going to do with this one yet, if I can try to remove that or not. We'll see. But this 20 gallon first, what I'm going to do with them. That 20 gallon is going to fit where that 10 gallon is right now. It can fit in that space. So what I'm going to do with the 10 gallon? Well, that 10 gallon is going to come down under here, and then that 10 gallon will come underneath here. That tote will slide underneath here. This one, which we can talk about, this one pretty much only houses a few crayfish. I put them in there last summer to see if I could get them to breed to feed this guy. And I really haven't seen any breeding action. I've actually only seen 2 crayfish left, so I think they pretty much killed each other except for the 2 alpha ones. So I'm going to take that down and put that other 10-gallon here, which I'll make a video of it, but I think I'm going to put probably some bricks and 2x4s down to kind of raise them up off the ground a little bit. And then that 20-gallon, well, I will put in a line also with some of my dirted display tanks down here. And also, my brother-in-law, if I can find it without making a big mess here, he got me this freaking awesome wood. He was on vacation in Michigan and found this at an Amish person's place that was selling them. What it is actually roots of an olive tree directly from Italy. So what happens is, the story he told me is, when these olive trees die in Italy, they have to remove the roots because they're invasive. So then he buys them from them and sells them. And these are some awesome pieces of wood. You know, I just have to soak them to get them, because they're going to be probably very buoyant. But I'm going to have to soak them and get them ready for a tank. And one of them will definitely go in this 20-gallon up here that I will scape. What I put in it yet, I don't even know, to be honest with you, but we'll find out. But that's the plan with those tanks right now. So that'll be an upcoming video. That 20-gallon, I think I'm going to make a kind of a cool video on it about natural tanks, but we'll see. And then that's it for those updates for that. But so the fish room will be changing again. But it's always an interchangeable thing with these tanks in this hobby. There's always like fish I want to try, but then I get rid of them because I've conquered it or I can't conquer it and I want to move on to the next. So that's it right now with these white clouds and those rainbow shiners. And then hopefully those Matanel Ricefish too. So these tanks are mostly, besides that 20, going to be kind of breeding setup projects. So that 10-gallon down here as well, I may get some more white clouds or try something different. I'm not 100% sure, but that will be a breeding project setup. So back to the tanks. This is my 20-gallon with my koi swordtails. Again, I just trimmed a lot of the plants down here in all my tanks, and it makes you feel like you've got new tanks again, like it's brand new, because you opened it up and let the light back down on it. And here's that. If you go back, I'll link the video, my tour I did of this video some months back. I had that all white baby. Well, it's not all white anymore. It's turned into white with lots of black blemishes and black coming in on it. So I know now that it's not an albino fish, but it's still pretty cool looking. These guys are doing good. Them the same as those Varieties. They don't breed hyper fast. I don't know if it's that they predate on the young before they have a chance to make it, or they're just slower breeders. I'm not 100% sure on them and how that works, but I still love these fish. They're beautiful, and yeah, I love them. Now this is my 20-some gallon tall tank that houses just mixed guppy endlers and some shrimp. These guys are doing good. All their brethren are outside in the tubs, so they're just making this tank cycle and happy until they get a bunch of roommates in a couple months here when they come in. But this tank as well, like I said, I love having the dwarf sag grow tall on this one. I don't ever trim that one. I let it grow and grow and grow. I love to see how tall it can get, because that is dwarf sagittaria. That is not Velcinerea. So that just tells you right here, that's about, I don't know, probably close to 2 feet tall, and it can still keep going. Now, the 2 tanks that I absolutely am in love with, and my 2 fish, which is this one here. This is my 75-gallon of my Fahaka puffer, and Dave, the angelfish. So Puff Daddy and Dave, it's their tank. Now, he's been very nice with Dave so far. Now it's only been probably like a week, but they're getting along very well, so I'm hoping that continues. I had been battling cyanobacteria and some hair algae in this tank, and I have been for the last few months. I'll get it under control and it kind of pops up back up again. But either way, the plants are growing great. Things are going okay in here with that. I'm loving the look of it. The plants are really starting to grow in, and I really look forward to seeing how Dave and Puff Daddy get along. I really think this could be a nice little odd couple relationship here. So, and I plan on having a feeding video soon with this guy. I haven't done one in almost a year. Those crayfish I talked about in that other container, I have to do something with them, so they're going to be his food. Anyway, now on to this tank. This is my 65-gallon with my Oscar Cichlid in a dirted tank. Now you probably notice all the cloudy water or green water. I can't really tell what it is, to be honest with you. It happens. It happens in these tanks. I have had it in just about every single tank. I'll go through a bout of this cloudy water, this bacteria bloom or algae bloom, whichever it may be. It came on overnight, just turned cloudy, and like I said, I've had it happen in almost all my tanks at one point or another. Some of them take longer than others to clear up. As crazy as it sounds, it's not as murky as it was yesterday. So I just leave it. There is really no cure to it, but just letting it be, letting nature take its course, and letting it right itself. So I know there was a few people that had asked me about cloudy water and how do you get rid of it? Like, it's really bugging them, this cloudy water in their tanks. And that's the only answer I have, is you just got to let it. You got to just write it out, however long it's going to take. Patience is a virtue. And that really does entail in this part of it, because you need to have patience. Water changes will only help momentarily, but it will come back and it will go away, I swear. It takes a while. This guy's doing great. So far, my experiment with this dirted tank is going fabulous. He loves the plants. He isn't tearing anything up as of yet. Obviously, he's still small. I hope is that him growing in this tank as a young Oscar too big will help him not pull them out, but we shall see. I will link the video up here on this that I put this up with, but there is egg crate in the substrate, but he'll never reach that dirt layer. My biggest fear, like I said, is pulling plants out, but that is why I have a bunch of crypts and small swords in here. So if he does decide to be a butthead and pull plants out, there will be some nice rooted plants in here. I just did add, now I talked to you about it before in that Varieties tank, that large Anubias barteri. I put that clipping in here. I glued it to a rock and stuck it in the back. I kind of think it looks nice in here added with it. Once this water clears up, it'll be better. So that is my 65-gallon Oscar in a dirty tank. Well, that is my quick update and little mini tour of my fish room down here, and showing you what's been going on and what is going to be going on in the next couple months. I really hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed to my channel, and hit that join button if you're interested in becoming a member. But other than that, stay tuned. Hit that notification bell, because you don't want to miss any of those upcoming projects. Then always remember to think outside the box and take a step back into nature. I hope to see you next time. Your Patty's Aquatics.